Dear viewers, a very happy new year to you all, and welcome to this first episode of One on One for the year 2022. Our guest tonight is Pritva Nirsimloo. He is 27 years old and he has recently published his first book, Le Miroir de la Vérité. Pritva, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the NBC.
Hello, Koyal. Grateful for inviting me. Thank you.
Pritva, prose and poetry is a form of literature that uses aesthetic and often rhythmic qualities of language to express feelings or to evoke an idea. What does prose and poetry represent to you?
Prose and poetry is based on reality for me. It's emotional, it's deep, it's based on topic that influence everybody in the society, ourselves. And I think poetry is a good way for people to express themselves briefly but deeply. It's important. Writing, I think, is important for everybody to get that experience because it's a way to liberate yourself. Like teenagers have their personal diaries, etc. I found peace in writing. I found a lot of things. Like I started writing 3 years ago. I was in a believer club. I had a friend who was working in the media world. Then one day she told me, "Why did you write something about social work?" Then I wrote for the newspaper 5 Plus 3 years ago in 2018. The title I still remember was called L'entraide et la solidarité. It was published. It was my first article. And then after that, I began writing on everything I see every day on social media, in life, on myself, on my experience in growth, in becoming an adult, working, my benevolent club. And it came like that. It came like that. I began writing a lot. And then one day I said to myself, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write a book? I was planning it since last year, December last year, I think. But there's a factor that affects us all. It's time. We cannot control time. We cannot. Time is money. Time is money. 2 months we got locked down. I said to myself, it's now or never. Do it now. Do it now. So I wrote like for 1.5 months, let's say 50 days, from morning to night, every day. I wrote every day. It was like, it wasn't a punishment, but a challenge to myself.
Quite draining as well, maybe.
Yeah, the stress of that lockdown, what's gonna happen? People saying we are all gonna die, everything else. Didn't have money, we have to depend on our savings. It was like that. Rather than being panicked in a panic situation, let's make something real.
So is creative writing a passion that you've developed since childhood?
No. I never thought I'm gonna write a book. I never thought. I had other dreams in childhood, like music, like making a business for myself. I never thought it became like that. I think that's what we call talent, a hidden talent.
And the book that you've published, Le Miroir de la Vérité, it is actually a collection of poems, right?
Yeah, it's a collection of 60 poems. It's mainly based on my life and what I see every day in the society. I think when a lot of people by now have brought it, they said, I got the same experience life. It's based on love, it's based on depression, it's based on work, it's based on gratitude, the law of attraction, a lot of things, and liars, and a lot of things. It's like this book, it's like a person, the life of a person.
So what really pushed you to write about these themes, these issues in your poem? And why for poems actually? Why not in a form of story, in a form of fiction? Why did you choose poetry as such?
I choose poetry because when I was here, we are like, I read a lot every day. I read a lot. I read The Secret Book. I read Robin Sharma. I read Napoleon Hill, Richard Branson. I don't have a lot of friends who do the same. I have very little friends who have the passion of writing. Like, I'm in a bus. I travel by bus. I don't drive. There's always a book with me. You'll never see that. It's rare. It's rare to see someone in the bus holding a book. I do it because nowadays youngsters are more concentrating on like social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. But the thing on social media that I have seen that a lot of teenagers share quotes. Then when I decided to write, I wanted the first idea was like, let's write a novel. But I don't know, inside me, I said no. Let's wait. Let's think well. Do not waste time. Do not waste time. Most of my articles were published during these 3 years. Like I have more than 40 articles published. When I was writing, there were a lot of people, especially where I live, saying to me that you wrote awesome things. These are exceptional. Then the word truth came, like the word truth came to my mind because people were saying it's true. It's totally true what you were writing. It's based on reality. A lot of people cannot write this way you're writing. Then I said to myself, why not choosing the format that I used to be published in the newspaper? Let's make a book with it. Why not?
That's true, but poetry writing is actually a very sophisticated form of writing, right?
Yeah.
And in your book, you have followed some of the traditional rules. So, have you actually had a formal training on creative writing?
No, never. When I wrote the book, I had to make corrections, grammar, etc. I went for a college teacher, which she has been my teacher like 15 years ago. In 2006, I was a student at Sir Abdul Rahman Usman State College. She did it for free and said to me, "Go forward. It's really deep what you've written. It's such beautiful. Go for it. Go for it." I never had any training. I think I must say that it can be a training when I was writing for 5 Plus. Eventually it came poetry. I don't know how, because when I write, I use voices in my head. I use two voices. There is my favorite one is the voice of the famous serial Prison Break. I don't know if I've ever heard Prison Break. I use the voice of Michael Scofield in that series, because I have been so touched. A lot of people, the whole world has been touched by it, because it is so emotional and it's extremely intelligent. That inspires me. The second voice is the voice of a film called Lucy by Luc Besson. It's based on the intelligence of man. Like scientists say, we use only 8 to 10% of our brain function. It's little, but we did a lot. So I use this word. I use the voice of Lucy in the film Lucy by Luc Besson for writing. It's like a film in my head. When I remember I was writing for the first lockdown, I uses the voice of Lucy, like in my texts. Soudain le monde s'arrêta. I use this voice. This inspired me to write like you are in the character. I create characters when writing. I wrote about diabetes like 3 weeks ago in 5 Plus. I had to put myself in someone suffering from diabetes. How? I have a lot of relatives who died, got one feet cut, etc. Their injections every day. You have to put yourself in that person. Then I can write. The word came by themselves. Yeah.
And you have also chosen a very interesting title, Le Miroir de la Vérité. What drew you to use that title actually?
Choosing a title for the book was the most difficult part, I must say, because the first title I thought was Poésie de l'univers. That was the first title, but it wasn't original. I'm searching for something unique. Based on what people were saying to me, it's true what you're writing. The word truth, I kept the word vérité. Then I had to accompany something with it. Then one night I wasn't sleeping. I sleep like 3 to 4 hours a day. Yeah, the other, I reflect on myself. I write, I play guitar, I do other things based upon real estate and everything. And then one day I wasn't sleeping. I said to myself, let's choose the title now. Why a mirror? Because when we see ourselves in the mirror, we see only the physical part, the body part. We don't see we don't see the anger, we don't see the sadness, we don't see our bad side, even the body sides. There's a saying that said in French, il faut briser la matière. So that's why on the book there's a broken mirror, and you got the eye of Horus. I can tell you a bit. Why the eye of Horus? A lot of people saying, "Oh, what that is? Is that the evil eye? Is that based on secret societies, the Illuminati, everything. I said no. The Eye of Horus, I have it in my ring, the tattoo here, I even have the chain. In ancient Egypt, it was a sign that was really prayed. It signifies education, love, money, power. The Eye of Horus is extremely important for me. That's the Eye of Horus protects me. Like 4 years ago, I was in Louvre Museum. I went there in Paris. I had only 1 hour to visit the Louvre Museum, but it's so huge. It's so huge that I got only 1 hour. To visit the whole museum, you have to take like 1 week. So I went directly when I entered. I went to Mona Lisa, of course. Everybody wants to see Mona Lisa. I went directly to the Egyptian thing. And after that, when I came to Mauritius, it stayed in my mind. The Eye of Horus.
Okay, that's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
And how was your creative process for writing this collection of poetry? You've completed the book in around 1.5 months, right?
Before the lockdown, I had already written like 20 chapters. In the 60, I written like 20 chapters based on my life, based on reality, of what I see every day. While writing, I got inspiration for the other chapters. I'd see people like panicking, everything about no food, there's even a chapter about drugs, about alcoholism. I took every problem I see in the society that can be deep, that can be positive or either negative, and I created something with it, something original.
Yes, but did you actually have any writer's block while writing any of these poems? Because it's quite draining to just keep on writing day and night. So have you actually had any writer's block?
No, no, I didn't, because it was all by myself. I think all the experience I had in life was really difficult. We all have difficult path in life. I took this because it's the past. I know I had to burn the past. I had to burn the post, and I had to return this because I think what doesn't kill you will eventually make you stronger.
Yes. Pritva, the poems revolve around the truth of a person, of a society, in the life of an individual. So would you say that your aspiration as an author involves self-reflection between the reader and the poetic voice by creating imagery to allow the readers to visualize the words, connect to it, and maybe interpret the meanings in different ways?
Yeah, true. That's totally true. You have to create an image. Like I wanted when they're holding the book, they're reading, they're seeing something, they're feeling an emotion. It's like musicians. Musicians, when creating a song, the first goal is like for people listening to them, they have to feel something to enjoy the riff, the song. When I was writing, it's about. I always tell my friends, my relatives, you have to reflect on your reflection. You have to think on what you're thinking. What you're thinking can eventually become true. You become what you think. That's based on spirituality. It's based on self. It's based on people. What you do in the world. What you give to the world. Everything is connected. We are all born on the same cloth. It's like hurting someone. You're hurting yourself. Karma.
Yeah. And you've also actually written quite a few interesting motivational pieces, we can say, about gratitude, law of attraction, and the
Yeah.
belief to really manifest all your dreams into reality.
Y-
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of The Secret by Rwanda. I think the whole world have seen it or even read it. The Secret I have the whole collection. I have The Secret, I have The Hero, The Magic, The Gratitude Book, The Daily Inspiration, and the last one, The Greatest Secret. I kept on writing because the magic in this book, it's just amazing. It's just dreams. It's the secrets of the secrets. This energy in that book is basically on metaphysics, the law of life, law of truth, law of compensation, law of reality. It's based on a lot of things, on quantum physics. When before publishing this book, when I already like giving it to edition operator for printing, I started visualizing a lot of things. I must say that people will like it. It will make a great hit, and eventually one day it will be on NBC. And I'm here today. Yeah, I visualize everything. I uses the law of the secret. I use it. You have to use it every day. The secret book. A lot of people, when they finish reading it, it's over. No, it's over. You have to recreate that magic sack, refueling a vehicle. Faut remettre l'essence, comme si il faut attirer de nouvelles énergies. Voilà.
It's so important actually to feel grateful for everything and count your blessings. It will just give you more, right?
Gratitude. You must start practicing gratitude when you open your eyes in the morning and say thank you. First of all, I'm still alive. I didn't die of the coronavirus. I have food. I have a mom.
The positive affirmations.
Yeah, the positive information, because it's like you're communicating to the universe, or even God, the grand architect of the universe. You're saying, like I'm thinking like making a lot of money. Then you see, the universe will then say, your wish is my command. Your wish
It's like
is
the
my-
gene, we can say.
Yeah, it's
genie.
the also the genius of the
The
lamp.
genius,
The genius
yes.
of the lamp. Your wish is my command. Yeah.
And Pritva, do you feel that Le Miroir de la Vérité took you or may take the readers on a journey towards self-fulfillment, but also the willingness to embrace the known and the unknown?
That's my wish for the book. When people reading it, they feel something. They start thinking about what they are doing in life, what they are doing for people, what they are doing in the society, what they are bringing to the world, what positive. Even if tomorrow they are not here, they've kept something for the future generation. Writing a book is like a heritage for the future generation. It will always be here when you will not be here. I think it's important for like energy. Everything around us is energy. Everything vibrates. It's like a magnetic field around us. When you're walking, you're angry, you will definitely attract problems. When you're happy, you will definitely attract good things. You will definitely be attract curiosity on one the emission. Yeah.
Yes. And Pritva, a poet or an author normally chooses words that aim to trigger memories to the readers. The metaphors, tone, rhythm have access to the reader's senses. How do you view that tight connection between the language and emotion as a young author?
The words have, for me, I have seen a lot of poetry in life. People who even wrote poetry. Every poet has is like his own signature link. Every one who writes has his own signature link, I think, because I've known a friend who published a book years ago, 5 years ago, I think, but his poetry was nice, but it was difficult. Like you have to, when reading it, you have to open Wikipedia or Google or even the dictionary, because he uses difficult grammar, difficult word. In my book, no, I choose simple words so that can be readable by everybody, even if you don't have that literature background. You can read it, you can feel the emotion, you can understand what the writer wanted to the reader to understand. It had to be simple. It's like a song.
Exactly. Simplicity is best.
Simplicity is best.
And share with us some of the response that you've got concerning your first book.
I got both positive and negative. Of course, from the start when I created my page, like 2 weeks before it was in library, it was printed. A lot of friends were telling me, "Yeah, it's well high time you publish a book." Every time I see your picture, I see your articles in Saint every week. It's well high time to write a book. I'm so proud of you. I've got friends that I haven't met for 7 or 8 years, college friends. Tell me when the book is out, just tell me. Even if I'm not gonna read, I'm gonna buy it because you did a great thing. I don't have any friends that wrote a book, but other people, I've met a lot of new people that I haven't met in life, haven't even talked, just through chat on Messenger, on Facebook, told me that I like, because I was publishing some chapters before the book was officially released. Then a lot of people found it was awesome. It was another kind. They told me, they sent me money through my bank account. I deliver it by post, or they asked me where it can be available at Édition Le Printemps, Code Bagatelle, etc.
And what were those challenges that you've encountered while writing or even while publishing this book?
The challenges when writing, The writing was not that difficult because it was in the lockdown. I have full of time. The inspiration was here. The inspiration was here because I was home. But the publishing this book was really difficult. It was real hell. It was real hell because we have to convert everything into I think PDF format because you can I write it on Word, but the printing company doesn't accept this kind of format. I had to check the dimension, and you have to go through a graphic designer. He gotta take you money. It was difficult. There I had to correct the grammar, etc. The publishing was real hard. That by the time I deleted everything. Yeah, I deleted everything. Then I had a close friend who is a yoga teacher. She lives, Natasha. Natasha lives in the same world as me, this spiritual world. I said, what's wrong with you? What did you deleted everything? I said, it's enough. I don't want to do it. She said, no. Try one last time. Think well. Go to the people you have to go. Then I retrieve through a mail that I've sent for a friend for correction. I had to redo everything, like the correction, etc. It took me like 2 or 3 days. Then eventually I made it after 3 weeks. Financially, it was not a problem, but it was just about publishing. You have a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know the dimension, etc. It's not my field. You know, you have to be with a graphic designer. I had to be with edition operator. I had to do my work at the same time, but at last it was okay.
Yes, and Pritva, besides writing, you also like music, right?
Yeah, I've started. For people who know me, I'm always in black. I always wear black clothes. I started listening to hard rock, to heavy metal music at the early age of 8. Age of 8, I was still in primary school. I started with Linkin Park, Metallica, Slipknot, and everything. That's part of my life. I'm 27 today. It's been 19 years that I listen to heavy metal every day. Even when I was writing the book, I was listening to heavy metal because it's inspired me as well. I started playing guitar at the age of 11. I was in college, first year college. I started playing guitar, but by now I don't have any. I don't know the basics, the chords, do re mi. I don't know anything about that. I've learned through a magazine called Total Guitar. It was like you have frets on your guitar. You have the neck. You have frets. It's based on numbers. Like nobody wanted to teach me music. I said to myself, my brother bought an acoustic guitar. He was playing. I tried, and then we met on YouTube everything. I still by now I don't know the basics, but I became professional by the age of 19, 20. I played with a broken guitar for 6 years while being in school because I loved it. I love it. Music is part of my life. I started recording some videos for the first lockdown. They had nothing to do. I was seeing on media a lot of people showing their talents. They were singing, others playing guitar. And I said to myself, why don't I record? My own camera, I had my iPhone. I started recording, and a lot of people say you have a lot of talent. But by last month, I started recording again. Now much more professional with my graphic designer. I think I'm gonna publish some instrumental. It's instrumental videos by the end of January. Don't know. We'll see.
And now, what are your future goals or future projects, maybe?
Future goals. I'm nearly finishing my second book.
Wow.
It will be called the Equation of Life, l'équation de la vie, and this book's gonna be my masterpiece. It will be much more than 60 chapters, but this one will be really deep. It will be based on the life of everybody. You have chapters like marriage, like divorce, like even on smoking. There's on diabetes, on the vision of a man, the engineer of life. This one will be my masterpiece. I'm finishing it like in 2 weeks, I think. It will be published by April 2022.
Okay. And now, any advice you'd like to give to our youngsters to encourage them to follow their passion like you've always done?
I think passion is a vision for a greater vision. because passion is what makes a person. I would not like to be like in my deathbed one day and say to myself, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. That would be sad, you know. Just like people just, I had a friend who had been chasing money all his life. He's like 75 today, and one day said to me, Pritva, I've chased money all my life. I didn't enjoy anything. It was sad to hear that, but I tell this story to a lot of people because life is all about enjoying. We all want to have a beautiful house, a luxurious car, have a beautiful wife, have nice kid, be famous. But you have to, like in the secret, you have to take the call at the time because God has a plan for everyone.
Thank you so much, Pritva. It was such a pleasure to have you on the set of One on One
Thank
and
you.
talk about your book.
Yeah.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.